इसी तरह से हमने देखा कि ग्रीस भी अपने गुमनाम सैनिकों को उनकी याद में इस टॉम ऑफ अननोन सोल्जर्स को बनाया गया और इसीलिए प्रधानमंत्री ने जब ग्रीस की धरती पर कदम रखा उनका भव्य स्वागत किया गया और उसके बाद उन्होंने यहां श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की है।
Arrived into Greece. He's been welcomed, a warm welcome for him. He was greeted with much enthusiasm by the Indian diaspora. Wherever Prime Minister goes, that's one thing that you see as a constant. The Indian diaspora showering him with all that love and cheer. And Prime Minister Modi even thanked them, a heartfelt thank you for that warm welcome. That's what he put out on the X platform. Prime Minister Modi now says that he is certainly looking forward to some productive talks with the top leadership of Greece. He says that this visit is aimed at deepening bilateral ties and friendship as he's going to be there for one entire day. This is a fresh visual of Prime Minister as he visits the soldiers' tomb in Greece, Athens. Not working. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Greece, Athens, his first visit. In fact, a visit for the first time the Prime Minister of India has visited in the last 4 decades, we believe. Prime Minister Modi has accepted the invitation of the Greece Prime Minister Abhishek Balla, who's been tracking this, joins us live. Abhishek, tell us more the purpose of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Athens, Greece. He is right now reached the soldiers' tomb, paid his respects there to the fallen heroes, and it's going to be quite a productive day, a day-long visit where he's hoping to be having some fruitful bilateral conversations.
That's right, Nabila. The visuals that we are seeing from the monument of the unknown soldier, this is a very important place in Athens where it's dedicated to the fallen soldiers who have laid down their lives during several battles. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the first Prime Minister from India to be visiting Greece in the last 40 years. The last time an Indian head of state had gone to Greece was in 1983. Yes, a big step towards relationships between the two countries. Trade, defense are some of the key areas where the two countries want to extend their relationship. And later in the day, Prime Minister will also be meeting the Indian diaspora in Greece, like he does every time he goes overseas. He makes it a point to interact with the diaspora there. So similarly, we'll expect a grand welcome from him, for him by people of Indian origin who are living in Greece.
Right. Tell us more on really the ties between India and Greece at the moment, Abhishek. We know that the Prime Minister's team, as they put out a message saying that the civilizational ties between the two countries have been historic, and it's only strengthened as the years have passed. This makes the first time an Indian Prime Minister has visited Greece in the last 4 decades. What led to the Greece Prime Minister inviting Modi this time?
Well, over the years, as I said, relationship between the two countries has, expanded to several sectors. The diplomatic relationship has enhanced considerably, and that's the reason why Prime Minister Modi decided to visit the country, the first to do in the last 40 years. Certainly a big move as far as diplomacy between the two countries is concerned.
All right, what's really expected on the agenda today in terms of discussions? We know that this is a bilateral talk, but in what areas are we going to be hoping for talks to happen, Abhishek?
Well, trade and defense, these are the two areas which will be key as far as the diplomatic discussions are concerned. And remember, because this is a prime ministerial visit, so obviously, everything that's going to be on the table will be between the two leaders of the two countries, and how this can be extended to several other sectors. Trade is something which India is looking to extend help as far as relationship is concerned with Greece. These are the two focus areas where the two countries will be discussing.
All right. Well, clearly the Indian diaspora has been active there as well. Abhishek, we saw the welcome that Prime Minister Modi received as soon as he arrived, and Modi has acknowledged that on his X platform as well, saying it was really heartwarming to see that warm welcome given by Indians in Greece. So wherever Prime Minister Modi goes, you have the Indian diaspora up in attendance and of course showering him with that kind of love and welcome.
Yes, this is something which is quite unique to the nation. Go to any country and you'll find people with an Indian connect, and that's something that we've seen on all visits of the Prime Minister. Recently, he was in the US. People came out in large numbers, especially people of the Indian diaspora. Greece might not have as many numbers as in some other countries, but certainly there is a huge representation of Indians and Indians who have some kind of a link with India, people carrying out their businesses from this country. So certainly that's one event which will attract a lot of attention, and the Prime Minister's interaction with the Indian diaspora is something that everybody will be looking forward to.
Exciting day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on a day-long visit in Greece, Athens. I'm going to quickly cut across to our correspondent joining us live from Greece itself, Daphne Tollis. Thank you for speaking to India today and bringing us that much-needed information. At this point, we see Prime Minister Modi visiting the soldiers' tomb. He started his visit in Greece, Athens, by paying tributes to the fallen heroes. But today is a long day, multiple meetings that have been scheduled, and we're hoping for a fruitful outcome of that.
Yes, hello. Good morning from Athens. I am standing in the Maximus mansion where Prime Minister Modi will head after he has laid the wreath at the tomb of soldier that you're probably watching now on your screens. So currently we're expecting him here. He will meet first with the President of Greece, Kyriakos, and then he will hold talks with the Prime Minister of Greece, Kyriakos Mitsotakis. The schedule is indeed tight, as you mentioned yourself, and he will also hold talks with business leaders, local business leaders, Greek business leaders, as well as Indian business leaders here in Greece. And then he's expected also to meet with the Indian diaspora later today that is living in the country. Yesterday, outside the Indian embassy in Athens, members of the Indian diaspora had gathered, and they were very excited, singing. Ahead of the visit, they were saying that this is very important for them after 40 years, 4 decades, that an Indian Prime Minister is visiting Greece. So they were really proud and happy for this moment.
Right. Daphne, we believe that this is the first time an Indian Prime Minister in 4 decades has visited Greece. So would you tell us what was the enthusiasm from the Prime Minister of Greece to invite Modi this time? Are you looking to explore fruitful transactions with India, and in what areas?
Well, certainly business ties. There are many business ties that are connecting already Greece and India, and they are looking further to explore those ties in many ways, in commercial ways, the shipping, the maritime industry as well, as I was told. But this visit is strategic in also many ways, because it hasn't been it's 4 decades since a Prime Minister visited. So this happened upon our Prime Minister's invitation to Prime Minister Narendra Modi come to Greece and re-establish, re-strengthen those ties with Greece.
All right, Daphne, thank you very much for joining us. Those are the live visuals that we see there from Greece. Prime Minister Modi has just touched down Athens. He's visited the soldiers' tomb, first paid his respects to the fallen heroes, and then goes on to carry out his multiple meetings that have been scheduled for this day-long visit with the Prime Minister of Greece. Now, meanwhile, China seeks peace talks with India. And that's clear with the Ministry of External Affairs in India, their sources clarifying that China indeed has requested for a talk with Prime Minister Modi and not vice versa. A source from the Ministry of External Affairs has said that China has requested for formal talks with the Prime Minister. However, their meeting, though, was informal. They had a brief chat and that was visible on the stage. You see those images coming on your screens there. Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping in a brief chat before they assumed their chairs as part of the 15th BRICS Summit. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Modi, he was spotted exchanging those words, but still unsure whether this is going to turn out into an actual formal conversation. A bilateral meeting indeed will happen or not is still unclear. But from what we hear from the Ministry of External Affairs, sources of India tells us that China is keen on having a chat with Prime Minister Modi himself. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi met and even exchanged a few words, as you see on the screens, just yesterday as part of the 15th BRICS Summit, but no formal conclusion on whether this is going to be turning into a meeting, a bilateral meeting between the two nations. In fact, Prime Minister Modi, we believe, has already raised and conveyed concerns to Xi Jinping about India's unresolved issues along the border lines, along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. And this certainly, this brief chat comes less than 2 weeks from the G20 summit, which will be held in New Delhi.
In a conversation with President Xi Jinping of China, Prime Minister highlighted India's concerns on the unresolved issues along the LAC in the western sector of the India-China border areas. Prime Minister underlined that the maintenance of peace and tranquility in the border areas and observing and respecting the LAC are essential for the normalization of the India-China relationship. In this regard, the two leaders agreed to direct their relevant officials to intensify efforts at expeditious disengagement and de-escalation.
केवल एक शंका रहती है, आज ही नहीं, पिछले 40-50 साल से चीन के साथ हमारा जो भी कूटनीतिक अनुभव रहा है वो ये रहा है कि चीन की बातों को हम कभी पूरा विश्वास नहीं कर सकते। वो कहते कुछ हैं और फिर जाकर करते कुछ और हैं। कई बार ये हुआ है कि एक चर्चा कर आए, किसी देश को कोई चीज का अंदेशा दिया, वापस अपने देश गए, उसका बिल्कुल विपरीत किया। तो मैं यही आशा करूंगा कि चीन जो है अगर कोई बातें करता है या किसी चीज में पहल की अपनी तरफ से पहल करता है तो वो उसके सच्ची में चाहे बॉर्डर का मसला हो चाहे ट्रेड का मसला हो वो उनकी नीतियों में भी दिखेगा।
Now I'm going to cut across to my colleague Shivarur and Gaurav Sawant, breaking for us the significance of Prime Minister Modi's meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit. Let's have a listen.
On Thursday evening India time, the Indian Ministry of Foreign Affairs reported that the Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese President did have a few comments to say to each other. Very interesting because Gaurav, who's with me right now to analyze this, there's been a high degree of anticipation, first of all, over whether there would have been a bilateral. That has not happened, but there appears to have been some kind of a mini pull aside. The two leaders were seen shaking hands. They did appear to exchange some brief comments, but now the Foreign Secretary saying that there were some substantive comments that were exchanged specifically on the issue of de-escalation, disengagement, de-induction from Ladakh, the western part of the India-China frontier. What are you hearing, Gaurav? What kind of discussion was this? Did they have the time to get into any specifics at all?
So, Shiv, specifics are worked out at the level of the co-commanders, as you well know, or at the level of the diplomats, the ambassadors, the foreign ministries. At the summit, now this wasn't an official summit, this was a BRICS summit, it wasn't a bilateral summit. But in this BRICS summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi did raise the situation along the line of actual control. And remember, this is extremely crucial, the timing. BRICS Summit right now and G20 on the 9th and 10th of September. That's just some days away. So ahead of G20, the Prime Minister raised this situation because the Chinese president would be a part of G20. He would be coming to India, God willing. And before that, the situation has to be as normal as possible along the line of actual control. So what was the conversation? The two heads, the Prime Minister of India and the President of China, they've decided to direct their respective officials at the level of the Foreign Ministry, at the level of the commanders on ground, to de-escalate and disengage. Yeah. Very crucial words. And Shiv, you understand this terminology. Disengagement and de-escalation. So far, at least in public domain, there is no talk of de-induction. And given the fact that both countries have amassed 50,000 plus troops on either side, de-induction appears to be a tall order.
Okay.
All right, well, that happens on one side. On the other, you have Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, who has stirred up a hornet's nest at the Ladakh trip that he's had along the Kargil. He's holding, he's met with a bunch of budding soldiers. Rahul Gandhi, who is in Leh, Ladakh, currently targeted the Prime Minister Narendra Modi over the Indo-China border row, questioning the issue of border security. He's accused the Prime Minister Modi of making false claims about China not occupying Indian territory. Remember, Congress has repeatedly asked Narendra Modi government to come clean on the Chinese incursions along the line of actual control. Further, Rahul Gandhi went all guns blazing against the BJP, said that Muslims and people of Manipur in India are under attack. Interacting with the youth in Kargil, he's further added that this is the style and attitude of the saffron camp. BJP has unleashed a scathing attack at Rahul, a counter-attack claiming that it is the Congress party that is responsible for the situation in Manipur. Countering Rahul Gandhi's claims, BJP has said that it was Indira Gandhi who used the IAF to bomb Mizoram in 1966.
Muslims are under attack in India. This is not wrong. But you must also realize that there are many other people also under attack in India. Okay? Please look at what is going on in Manipur today. For 4 months, Manipur has been burning. Right? So you must not think that you are the only people under attack. No. All sorts of... Yeah, it is happening. Of course it is happening. But it is happening to Muslims. It is happening to other minorities, it is happening to Dalits, it is happening to tribals, right? Because it is the attitude and the approach of the BJP. And this is something we are committed to fighting.
लद्दाख एक स्ट्रेटेजिक जगह है और यहां आने पर खासतौर से जब मैं पैंगोंग लेक में था तो एक बात बिल्कुल साफ है कि चाइना ने हिंदुस्तान की जमीन ली है।
All right, cutting across to the BJP, speaking on the China-India border issue and talks with China impending.
गवर्नमेंट से रिलेटेड माना जाता है, उसने ये शब्द प्रयोग किया है कि चाइना इज पासिंग थ्रू इट्स वर्स्ट डिप्लोमेटिक आइसोलेशन पोस्ट तियानमेन स्क्वायर, यानी तियानमेन चौक के नरसंहार के बाद के दौर के सबसे बुरे कूटनीतिक अलग थलग पड़ने की स्थिति में चीन है।